Last time on Shadow Piece, the clock was turned back by over 20 years. We met a younger version of Ulver who suffered a devastating loss against a younger version, or a young man that just recently earned himself the title of World's Strongest Swordsman. We all know that's Dracula Mihawk, and he came to Elbaf looking for a challenge, as they are becoming scarcer and scarcer all over the world. Only places not many people can travel to might be able to quench his thirst for a worthy opponent. Now TYR and the son are on their way to give that human the challenge he is looking for. The 10-year-old TYRson is once again excited to see his father battle. For him, his victory is basically already guaranteed. Jogging towards the battlefield, TYR is inspecting his blade one last time. It's a masterful piece of metal that has cut through every imaginable substance, and also countless giants and visitors of Elbaf. One story the warriors tell each other is that the sword was once a different color, but the blood of all his opponents have dyed it into the steep red it is now. TYR neither wants to confirm or deny this tale, as imagination can also be a key piece in growing stronger as a warrior. In the instance where they arrive at the lake, the atmosphere changes completely. For his son, TYR can even be cheerful and the classic image of a playful father, and yet right now his eyes are focused, more than ever. His grip around his sword is firm, and every step is taken in a way in which he could switch into battle mode in an instant. Are you the human looking for a challenge? A redundant question. How many humans could possibly be on Elbaf at this very moment? But the gentleman he is, Mihawk answers. I assume you are the strongest warrior of Elbaf then. Let us get right into battle and see how you compare to the rest of the world. The human sword fighter takes his sword into his hands. Yoru is an oversized Kriegsmesser, so it has to be wielded with both hands. Meanwhile, TYR's weapon is designed to be held with either one or both hands, offering a more versatile approach. This classic Elbaf-style sword is normally paired with a shield, but the leader of the Einherjar prefers to keep his second hand free, for moments where a double-handed grip might be superior. Your enthusiasm is great, young one, so I won't rob you of your time. However, in the worst case I will rob you of your life. Once I get serious, it is hard for me to hold back, you should know that. Fighting words are getting ushered from the great warrior's mouth. TYR is ready to start the combat. Roll initiative. At a pace too fast for any of the other warriors present to follow, the two sword fighters dash towards each other, and their swords clash against each other. Waves of power create wind, powerful enough to knock some people off their feet, and even some trees are at risk of getting uprooted. Swing by swing, these two men are not letting the other side rest for a second. Every single of their attacks would be enough to defeat a promising rookie with one single strike. But for both of them, they are not enough to get the advantage. Even in the Haki aspect, they aren't that different from each other. Mihawk has a slight upper hand in armament, and TYR is vastly superior in observation. Covering their weapons with Conqueror's Haki is something they are almost equally proficient at. However, let's not forget that Mihawk is only 21 years old and TYR is way over 100. One needed much less time to achieve these feats. Each impact shakes the area of Elbaf they are fighting in, and even some villages can feel the earth rumbling. Hawkeye's downward swing parried by TYR. TYR's attack from the right, blocked by the human. They continue to exchange blow after blow, and enjoyment can be seen on their faces. As Haki grows stronger the more you fight against strong opponents, both fighters continue to improve as the battle goes on. But another factor that changes as the time goes on is TYR's observation advantage. While Mihawk's fighting style is in no way monotonous, TYR's advanced observation Haki manifested in the form of future sight, and he probably has one of the longest time frames to look into the future present in any warrior in the world. Knowing his opponent's move for the next few minutes makes the defending part of the battle so much easier. The sound of metal clashing against each other fills the entrance lake of Elbaf, and the vibrations can be seen by the waves in the otherwise calm water. The fight progresses further and further until TYR sees his first chance. His dexterity might be lower than Mihawk's, but his strength is higher. so the knockback from another clash pushes him away, and in quick succession, TYR brings down his sword. A diagonal left cut slices through Mihawk's chest, revealing the first major wound of the battle. Steeled warriors still feel pain, but the human doesn't let out a scream. Instead, using the force of his enemy's attack, he turns the damage around. Sword masters can choose when to cut nothing and when to cut everything. The energy of TYR's attack may have hurt Mihawk tremendously, but it also allowed him to start a counter-attack. Spinning his body around together with the flow of power, he makes multiple screws, performing numerous slashes one after the other. With his swords, TYR manages to block most of the attacks, and with his armament haki he can further reduce the damage, but he still gets pushed back and receives minor cuts. The injuries on both sides keep on piling on. However, getting a hit that hits so hard that it will leave a scar is very difficult. Over 1000 blows later, both sides are still standing. Tyrson and the other spectators are in awe. This is a level at the highest level. Not many people will see such a spectacle in their life. Cling! Yoru and Tyrfing clash against each other. The earth shatters around them and something appears before Tyr's eyes. For him, a vision appears. He sees Mihawk battle against an unknown red-haired man. He sees the red-haired man later form an alliance with Elbaf, and then, later in the future, he sees 16 lights coming from the sky, destroying an island he doesn't know. And finally, he sees his son Tyrson, all grown up, battling against what seems to be a Hyrule. The scene continues, further and further, many years into the future, seeing dark and tragic times, until one day a light of hope, the Son of Freedom, appears, pulling the world out of the shadows and spreading smiles and joy wherever they go. But all this started with TYR seeing his own death. So to set the world on its correct course, he has to lose this battle. Only with doing that, certain things will get started. TYR spent many years, no, actually decades looking at the future of the world, and yet only a few seconds went by in the real world. However, a second is all a master of the blade needs. Mihawk brings down his sword, slashing straight down his opponent's chest, landing a devastating and deciding blow. The giant falls on the ground, shaking the area around him. A puddle of blood quickly appears around him as he coughs up blood in defeat. Surprise and shock can be seen in the faces of the other giants present, and Tyrson especially has a look of despair written all over him. Our young boy runs over to his dying father. He may have been raised as a warrior, but he is still just a child. And in this very moment, his father is dying right before his eyes. Clinging to his dad, his body gets covered in blood. Tears and blood fuse together. Tyrson is a mess. Meanwhile, Mihawk approaches the proud warrior he just faced. You said your name was TYR. I will grant you the title of second strongest swordsman in the world. His words are sincere and filled with respect, but a mere child won't get these hidden details, so Tyrson thinks his father is currently getting mocked. He wants to charge the human, already smaller than a 10-year-old giant, but the other warriors present hold him back. Why are they doing this? Did they not respect his father? That is what Tyrson is thinking, but when he looks at them, he can understand their feelings. It is a complicated situation. You had the upper hand in battle until the very end, but something seemed to hold you back for just a second. It would have been disrespectful to ignore such an opening. Farewell, greatest giant. Brachio Mihawk doesn't give any of the spectators even a second of his day. He returns to his raft and prepares to leave Elbaf. Tyrson breaks down over his father, sobbing and saying how much he still has to learn from him. He can't leave yet. TYR puts his giant hand on the top of the head of his son. Boy, don't cry, because I am going to the Hall of Warriors. Be proud that you saw my greatest battle. Turn these tears into tears of joy, not sadness. Your future will hold many hurdles. One day you might get pushed down by pride, but stand up again. Don't give up and you will become truly strong. Jump over your shadow, learn to accept new things, and reach heights your old man could have never hoped to reach. Meaningful last words are being uttered. Deep hidden meanings that Tyrson might not even have understood to this very day. However, on that fateful day, 22 years ago, TYR died, and the young boy took over the name of his father, swearing to one day achieve that his father couldn't. Present day on a certain island in the New World. Why are you touching your chest? Are you not ready for the big plan? A man with a deep and relaxed voice asked somebody close to him. No, I am fine. For some reason I just remembered an old opponent. Let's do this. Let's show Blackbeard who is going to lead the world into a new era. While we continue our journey through Elbaf, the outside world doesn't pause its progress. For us, Shadow Piece is still going to continue for a good while longer, but in worlds only a relatively speaking short amount of time remains, until the end of this story. Next week we will return to the battle between Hyridine and Tyr. All that's left to be said for me for today is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro out. Bye!